very good week of preparation. Very focused group of guys. And that's what it's going to take to be able to go on the road and play a very talented Nebraska football team at their place. So excited for us to be able to wrap up our preparation here tomorrow morning and head to the airport. So questions?
Coach, is the importance of this game? There's so many things, where it is, who you're playing against, but what's at stake, ball's ability. There's just so many things that go into making this a huge game. Has that manifested itself down to the team?
Well, we talk about, I believe, the right things, and had a really good talk today with our guys, and it is about the focus that you have and blocking out the noise and all the distractions, the good and the bad, at whatever point in the season that you're at and whatever you're experiencing. And that's the mental toughness it takes to be able to be, an elite football team. And that's what we want. We want to be a team that is put in these positions and has these distractions to deal with. And that's what we're focused on. And to me, that is the key. It truly is. And our guys understand this is the biggest game of the season because it's the next one. And that's how we've approached it.
Have you addressed penalties this week in practice?
Yeah, certain ones, just technique, some of those things, and sometimes they're subjective things that you put yourself in a position because of how you play. But I think the technique focus is the biggest thing. But to me, it's just you just continue to play hard, and those things just kind of, just the ones that you focused on too with, just guys being on the line of scrimmage. I mean, those are inexcusable mistakes that you cannot have, and so just with the crowd noise and all the different things we're going to have, that's been the focus with being able to communicate effectively to get lined up right and not have any false starts, things like that. Those are the ones that you got to eliminate.
How active has Mike been able to be this week, and kind of where is he?
Yeah, he's been able to practice, and so we'll see game time decision. But it's we'll know kickoff.
Was he able to practice every day this week?
Most of them, yes.
Have you evaluated on film just like how he takes contact? Because it's been kind of recurring things, or is this just kind of like a case of bad luck?
Oh no, I mean I think there's been different variables involved. So we just he does a good job of like all quarterbacks have to do. When you get out in space, you try to slide and avoid as many of those as you can. I think it's still contact football, so that's part of it.
This season has been one we've seen a ton of teams having problems with the same issue, quarterbacks going down. The team you're playing has the same issue. Does that give you pause for thinking of future recruiting of almost always having to have two guys that could start at any moment?
No, there's no question. I mean, I think it's if there's one thing that you can come out of this season so far would be that. It's just the importance of having two guys that on any moment's notice can go out there and run your offense. And three is obviously ideal, to have that, because obviously when one of them goes down, then that third guy becomes the next guy in, So, but I think that's definitely what all the coaches across the country are looking for, and that will not change. And that's why you go out and you have to sign a quarterback in every class, pretty much, and that's the goal, to be able to do that. And I just think that developing those guys and getting them to buy into what you're doing and staying with you and being a part of your team and helping you win games, So I think that's just really, it's such an important position. That's why we work so hard to find guys there that can lead our football team, And then once you get them, you got to, teach them how to play the game and help protect them. But it is part of it. It happens at all levels, and it's just part of football.
You talk about protecting them. How much do you talk to quarterbacks about how they run? I think Paul Johnson said once somebody asked him about the quarterback, the hits his quarterback would take on the option. He said, but if you get hit enough, you understand how to take a hit, how to absorb a hit, how to lessen contact and things like that. And that sometimes quarterbacks that don't run a lot maybe don't understand.
Sure.
Is that something you can work with guys on?
I think so. I do. I think there's a little bit of a moxiness to a guy and savviness to him that helps him kind of avoid those. There's even some running backs that just never seem to take a direct shot. Some guys just get pounded, even though they can still be good ones, So, but it's just a feel thing in some ways. But yeah, we've definitely worked hard to try to just to teach and educate and help them, try to avoid those big physical hits that if they're avoidable, sometimes they're not. But I do think there's a proper way to handle that, and we're definitely working through that. Yes.
Tom, how much does it help having success on the road last weekend and then carrying that over into back-to-back weeks, and especially in an environment like Lincoln?
I agree. Creates confidence. You have a chance to go experience it, and obviously going to be a completely different feel, from a noise level perspective, but still on the road. You're still traveling. You're still doing all those things. You're still finding ways. Because at the end of the day, when it gets late in those games, where it's just executing and making plays, And there's no doubt that the crowd has an impact, mostly on those third downs, when our offense is on the field, and that's when it becomes probably the biggest variable. But as far as just having to experience it and having a chance to have success on the road and find a way to win with all three phases playing a role in that is definitely huge for us moving forward.
Talk about having 2 or 3 quarterbacks. Is this something where you sit down with Jack Tuttle and you have a conversation with him about that, or is that something that you hope he's just learning from this experience?
Yeah, I think, you just go through and you continue to, because you can say it and talk about, hey, this can happen, that can happen, but it has happened, and so, Peyton has played a lot already, and so that's just part of it. So whoever the guy is, it's, the true number 2 guy going into the game, he's got to be ready to be the starter. That's his mindset that he has to have, and that's definitely those conversations. Those 3 guys have to all think that way, and because you never know what's going to, unfold each and every week. And so, and like I said, I just think that that's part of the nature of where we at as a game. A lot of teams, when you spread people out and those quarterbacks take a little more contact, when they're running the football, then that's one of the, I guess one of the results of that style of offense.
Are you surprised with how well your team, being a young team, how well they played on the road? With that Michigan State game.
That can be a concern, is to play on the road when you are young. Yeah, I think it's a tribute to, them just really truly buying into what we're trying to do in terms of the focus piece. Not perfect by any means, things that we got to continue to get better at. But, young teams usually struggle in that environment. And so, this will probably be, as hostile as we played in, in terms of the crowd noise is my expectation. And so, but yeah, it'll be a great test for our guys. But I just think that there is enough core group of older guys that helps, and they help lead those younger guys and show them how it's how you prepare for that and how you perform in that. But yeah, they just got to continue to stay locked in. That's the key. The focus is the key. That's really what we're trying to emphasize.
We've been here before, and I've asked this question before, and maybe it's best served after the game, but the enormity of a win against a program at Nebraska, bowl eligibility, all that it's hard to keep that out of your mind.
Well, it's like anything else. I think that, when you focus on the outcome, John Wooden said it best. He was so way ahead of his time of that whole concept, and just to being able to be so process driven and it sounds cliche, and it's not. It truly does. When you focus on, and think too much about, the end result, it affects the way you perform. It really, truly does. And so that's where, even leading up to this game, way before this one, has been just the absolute training of our guys to be so locked in on the preparation and every detail of how we do that. And then it has to translate to how you perform at the key moments of the game to create the result that you want. And so you have to, I think you have to consciously temper some of that to be able to not over, what I try to focus on is embracing the environment you're going to play in, and who we're playing. And we have a ton of respect for their program and what they've accomplished in the past and all the tradition and all those things. And I too, because I think they're just, as a kid watching them play, I get it, and so, but at the same time, we're lining up and playing the 2019, Nebraska Cornhuskers, and that's the reality. That's the truth. That's what it is. And so we have to line up against these guys and play and be focused on one snap at a time. Play our tails off for that snap. When that snap's over, you flush it and you play the next one. And you keep doing that and doing that and doing that, and then at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you want to get a result that you're looking for.
Nebraska has some uncertainty at the quarterback position. You went through that last week with Maryland too. Just how are you preparing?
I know. So 2 weeks in a row, and you really don't know, and so you just have to, once again, I do think there's when the system is going to stay pretty consistent with whoever's in there, it's not as big of a variable. Obviously, the Martinez is a special talent, special player, and has been, attributed to that for a reason. He has a tremendous skill set, so he's obviously the guy that you expect to play. And but if he doesn't, I don't see their system changing. They're not going to change what they do. So that helps from that perspective. But at the same time, you kind of have to have a little bit of you got a little bit different calls for sure on the strengths and weaknesses of each guy. So that's how you have to approach it. And then you just have to adjust on the fly.
You practice much this week to deal with their crowd noise
Oh yeah, every single day.
and the noise machines out?
Matter of fact, we started the week and they were right in here. Okay, they were all lined up across here, these huge speakers, and I let her rip. You couldn't hear the guy next to you, So that might have been an extreme. It's not a big deal, but I was sending the message from the very first meeting about what it's going to sound like. So we're going to be ready.
Well, offensively, what have you done to deal with that? Are you guys going to use different signals, or is there a way to combat that?
You do. We have a systematic way of handling, the crowds because we've all coached in it. These guys have played in it, but yeah, we do. We have to adjust.
It's on your radio show last night that you felt a little bit more comfortable making the defense or getting the defense a little more aggressive rather than just containing Maryland.
We did from last year to this year. Yeah, it was a
Okay,
different
do you
approach.
feel comfortable doing that going to Nebraska?
Yeah, I just feel like that you know, we got to be who we are, you know, and we believe in what we do, and I just think you have to be able to, you know, play to your strengths. And like I said, I think that from last year's team to this year's team, there's maturity and growth and change, and there's different guys, and several guys are a year older and more developed, and so yeah, I just, you know, the way we played and what we do is what we do, and I believe in it.
A lot of talk about the quarterbacks going into this game, both sides, but the front seven on defensively, to me, is probably where this game is going to turn.
It is. You know, I just feel like that, you know, playing physical football up front on both sides of the ball. It's a line of scrimmage game. There's no doubt about it. That's where everything starts and stops, and it creates all the run game that you want. It creates the pressure that you're trying to create on one side of the ball, on the quarterback, or the lack thereof. And so, yeah, those guys are going to be huge, and our guys have to play our best football up front on both sides, and I do think that will be the difference in the game.
On defense, we saw some guys get a little banged up at Maryland. Some went out and came back, but just in terms of cleaning some of that up.
Yeah, we got a few guys. We're defensively, I don't expect anybody not to play. You know, we definitely have had some guys take more or less reps in order to be smart with that, to get them ready, but which is pretty typical this time of the year. Like, we'll have certain days where guys are, hey, they're going to be in pad, they're going to practice, but they're going to just tag off instead of full, you know, thud or tackle, just to, you know, whatever it is that they have injury-wise, to be able to help them get to where they can, you know, play on Saturday. But you also need those reps, you know. So yeah, we're trying to balance that. So we have a few guys in that mold for sure, which is typical going into this time of the year.
Marcelino's maybe not been making any kind of end result plays, but it feels like the last few weeks there have been more moments like what he had Saturday, where he was stringing out that play that Juwan comes in and strips, and it feels like he's at the scene of a lot of action. Just, have you seen him? Is that maybe some of the veteran in him showing out a little bit, not trying to force making plays so much as just understanding that doing his job will create opportunities?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, and that has been the message to him. I think there was a pressing in the beginning. I think there was a forcing it in the beginning, and that just doesn't work. You know, it's just settle down, do your job, and let the plays come to you. And I think, like you said, what you've mentioned, you've observed that, and he got the huge sack for us, and he did set the edge when Juwan Burgess got the strip and the fumble recovery, and he's just doing his job, you know, and he's a big physical guy. That's a huge part of what we do, and his skill set is special, and he does a lot of things that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet, you know. So, but now he's, you know, we sat down, we had these conversations, and and I think it's been good for him to see himself rewarded for that, you know, because it is tough. I get it. You want to, you know, even like Stevie's like, you want to get all these. He was trying to get big runs in the beginning instead of being patient and setting up his blocks and taking the 3 and 4 yards or 2 yard runs that set up the 8, 9, 10, whatever, 15 bigger ones down the road. So it's a similar concept that we had to kind of go through with those kind of guys.
It may not have anything to do with it, but we've done this with 6 or 7 times. You seem more relaxed at this stage than in previous weeks. Is there a comfort with this team at this point of the season?
I think so. You know, we're you know, more guys are here that have been here with me since I've been here. Every year that's grown. The coaching staff, same way. The role, I think everything kind of plays into that, you know, and all that you do. And yeah, I love our team. I do. And these guys have continued to give us just relentless effort and focus and just the way they attack workouts and practices and work so hard for each other and play really hard together. And so it's a fun group to be around, and they're totally buying into what we're doing, and we just want to, you know, go on the road and play our best football. That's our goal.
Just one follow up on the noise machines. Was it like through the entire meeting, or was it the first?
No.
30 seconds?
So what I did was I made an announcement. I mean, these were like, I'm talking, they were the speakers were just huge. They lined from that edge of the board to that board, and I know the guys were thinking, what is Coach doing? And so I didn't, you know. But then I said, okay, guys, hit it, and it was just like, I mean, you literally, you couldn't hear me. I could have gone right here, and that's it. You probably wouldn't even still hear me, you know. So, but yeah, I wanted to set the message, because you can't simulate that. I mean, we try to get as loud as we can outside, but they're not. It's not the same, you know. So I wanted them to feel it, experience it. So that was how I did it.
They're doing the blackout on Saturday, so does that affect your wardrobe choices yourself at all?
No, they're dressing up like me. There you go. That's it. No, we're wearing white, so.
But will you be having your black on? Like
Our players would be like, they'd send me back in the locker room and make me change if I didn't wear what I usually wear. There's no doubt about that. So.
4 miles a day on the sideline.
That's what they said. Yeah. So the unfortunate guy that has to follow me around and make me stay off the field gets a similar workout. So that's what they did a little tracker on it. So I burn a lot of calories on game day.
Do you do like 4 miles a day during the week to prepare for that, or no? Or are you a
Well, I
runner?
run every day, 3 miles. So yeah, that's it's pretty much what I do. So keeps me young and keeps me active and gives my energy level high.
Street runner or a treadmill runner?
Street runner, but when it gets really, really cold, I'll hit the treadmill and the elliptical if I have to, just to change it up, keep my joints from.
When you guys played Rutgers, I remember players talking about how you arc back to the 25-point lead that was lost in 2015. Then I know the last time you guys played Rutgers was in your first year here as defensive coordinator, and they were quick. We weren't necessarily giving up at the defense, but they got down 17-0 there in the first quarter. Do you bring that up at all to the team this year, saying, you know, we gotta come out quick, come out strong? It seems like you guys have done it this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's been an emphasis to starting fast. You know, I just think it just sets such a tone for the whole game, and both in the first quarter and the third quarter. You know, to me, that's been a huge emphasis for us as a offense, defense, and then special teams units. Obviously, are always the first play. So, yeah, that's by design. You know, and the guys have responded, and that's got to continue.
Right. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.